All right, people, welcome back to the Point of View podcast, or commonly known as the POVcast. Get it? Because we put POV at the start of POVcast, like podcast, but
Look,
POVcast.
just
Yes.
because we're new doesn't mean only idiots listen to us, man. I don't know why you have to
Okay.
address
I
them
don't
like
know.
that.
Okay. Let's. It's just from
I'm
my
eating a Kit
experience. All
Kat.
right. Um, Kit Kat, huh? Kit Kat's
Kit
good. I,
Kats are
I, I
good.
like
I
Kit
have like
Kat.
these jumbo ones, right? They're like, they're not like any more chocolate or anything. They're just like bigger wafer pieces, and they're really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
are they? Do you eat Kit Kats the right
I
way?
I break them apart into the places that they're meant to be broken
All
apart.
right. Good. Good. You are a
If
human
you
being.
if you
You're
don't eat
sane.
Kit Kats like that, please click off this podcast. We don't want you.
Yes,
Honestly.
if you just bite into a full Kit Kat, where it's not separated, you're insane and you're not human.
Exactly what he said.
Okay, um, it is me, Bruce, and we have Arian,
Howdy.
the Kit Kat
How's it going?
guy, and we are in today's episode. This is our third
Is it?
episode,
Oh,
bro.
wow, it
We are
is.
growing. We have zero listeners, but we are
Uh-huh.
growing. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, today's topic is gonna be Olympics and worldwide international tournaments such as the
Mm-hmm.
World Cup and the Euros or the
That's a
Copa
bit my
America.
forte.
I don't know if there is one for Asia,
Well, there is.
but
That happens every four
you'll
years.
be
There was in 2019 Asian Cup. Qatar won that, I believe, in the final 4-2 against the UAE. I'm Iranian. Unfortunately, we went out 3-0 to Japan, which wasn't ideal. But, you know, it is what it is.
all right. All right, we'll
Mm-hmm.
get back to that. But the Olympics, I think it started today, didn't it? The
No, I
Olympics
think it started a
in
little bit ago. I think the women's
Tokyo.
team, as far as football is
Oh,
concerned,
actually,
soccer. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the women's team for soccer, USA versus Sweden, I'm pretty sure USA got mollywopped 4-0 by the Swedish, which was interesting. I think that was
damn.
a 40 something game. I think it was a 42 game beaten, 42 game unbeaten streak ended by the Swedish as the United States women's national team lost its first game in a long time. So that's cool.
Oof, oof. Yeah, the U.S. is usually the king of Olympics. They usually get
Well,
the most medals.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like,
I mean,
I don't want to
yeah.
get political or anything, but
Well, there was nothing
no,
political about
there
this.
wasn't anything political about this. But the thing I'm trying to mention
Oh,
specifically is what was her name again? That Megan Rapinoe chick. Um, I don't like her, and I've never been a supporter. Not okay. That's gonna make me sound sexist. I don't watch women's soccer a lot, and I don't frankly care about what goes on in that scene. But I don't like Megan Rapinoe, so I'm not too upset that the women's team lost. And I'm Iranian, so I don't care what America's team does. You know.
yeah. I don't know anything about the political spectrum that's going on in the Olympics, but I do. But I think I have seen some stuff going on relating to politics and people. I think showing honor to the flag,
Hmm.
to the United States flag or
Right.
something. But we don't know much about that, and you guys can leave a comment down below telling us what's going on. We might cover it on our next
Going back on
episode.
my little thing, like comment about political about like Megan Rapinoe. I'm not trying to. The reason I mention politics is because the reason I don't like her is the fact that she brings this whole political side to football. I call it football. Like, you're gonna have to get used to that because I'm not American born. So, whatever,
Yes,
right?
yes, you must
Um,
always call it football. Soccer is stupid. I don't know
okay,
where
well,
that
I
word
actually
even
do
came
know
from.
where the word soccer came from. Interestingly enough, so yeah,
Actually, tell
so
me now.
in 17, whatever the hell it was, or 18, I think 18 something. It ended at a six, whatever it was. Um,
Okay.
the FA, the Football Association, who made the sport, they made two types of football. One of them is rugby football, which is like rugby to this day. The other one is association football. And in British culture, there's a lot of words that are just like shortened with ER. For example, £10 note is called a tenner. And soccer comes from association, ASOCC, soccer. That's where that word comes from. It's actually a British word that is
Oh,
adopted by Americans, but is not primarily used by Americans.
it is a
There are
British word,
even
but the British hate it.
Yes, it's actually
Isn't that
used in.
ironic?
It's still used in a lot of European countries. I believe Ireland, for example, uses it a lot. Yeah, so
Ah,
it's not like an only American thing.
But still, it makes no sense. Why would rugby be called football, like
No, well,
American
rugby is
football?
called
You
rugby
barely
football.
use your
Yeah,
foot.
I don't understand why American football is called football in the first place, though. What's the point? You
Yeah,
use your
I mean,
foot
the whole
once or
point of
twice for the
soccer
field goal,
is football.
but it's not even a
Yeah,
ball. It's literally not ball shaped. And I think you can hear my dog barking in the background.
yeah.
Apologies.
That's alright, that's alright. Okay, so now let's talk about this Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
right? When was the last Olympics?
2006,
It was
2000. Well, I'm an idiot, dude. Why is it 2016? It happens every 4 years, correct?
2016.
So 2000
Right,
and
but
because okay, so 2021, it happens on odd years, I believe. So 2000 and I can't do math. 17. That was the Winter Olympics. No, I think it's 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. There's the Winter and Summer Olympics, right? I think there was a
I
2019
have
Winter
no idea.
Olympics and then 2017 Summer Olympics. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. Here's the thing, I don't care about the Olympics. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like a lot of people pretend to care
Yeah,
about the
let's.
Olympics. Unless a world record is broken at the Olympics, I don't care. I seriously don't care how many gold medals, how many silver medals, how many bronze medals, how many dirt medals. I don't care. Honestly, could not care less.
Yeah, me and Arian are way more soccer
Mhm.
fans than Olympics
Mhm.
fan. We usually find it kind of boring, you know. But there are a lot of people who find the Olympics fascinating. And Arian,
What's up?
I have some stories to tell you about the
Right.
Olympics. Fascinating stories that have politics, history, all involved with them,
Mhm.
and they're awesome. I have two stories to
Go
tell
for it.
you about the Olympics. Right. Uh, before World War II, right?
Mhm.
In the 1930s, uh, there was an Olympics held, and it was held in Berlin. During that time, Germany was ruled by the Nazi
Fun
regime, as
fact.
almost everyone who probably knows
Mhm.
history, they know that the Nazi regime was quite unusual.
I wouldn't
Quite
say on. Yeah.
unusual about
Do you
races
want to
and
know
uh,
an interesting fact about that Olympics that Hitler did host?
yes, I would like to
Because
know.
of it was the first um, major event, not sporting, it was the first major event in general that
Yeah.
had TV broadcasts that were strong enough to reach a certain amount of countries. I think it was worldwide, and so the theory is because it was the first of its strength. If aliens were to point their satellites at Earth, the first thing they would actually hear or see or whatever is Hitler's Olympics.
Wow. Wow. So it had a very high radio signal. It was
Well,
literally
obviously we
everywhere.
have that as standard today. Like this, if we upload this to like satellites, we could do the
Yes.
same
I mean,
thing.
yeah.
But the point is that was the first. So because it's the
But
first, it's the farthest
that
out.
was the
Hmm.
first one. Yes. It was a big deal. It wasn't just a normal Olympics. It was way more than just simple Olympics. There was huge international tensions between European countries and the U.S. and the Germany. Unfortunately, the Nazi Germany, who were very aggressive towards Jewish people, um, because there was a lot of tourists going into the Olympics and a lot of people coming from other countries. The Nazis started moving Jews out of their houses near stadiums, moved them out, pushed them out, and completely tried to hide all their cruelty towards the Jewish people
Hmm.
so that the people coming from other countries won't see it and won't recognize uh, Nazi Germany and realize what it's doing. So it was a terrible time. It was a terrible time, and there's a good story that comes out
Uh
of
huh.
this. A young athlete, I'll tell you, a young athlete by the name of
Uh
Jesse
huh.
Owens. I can speak, trust me.
Uh huh.
Jesse Owens. He was a black
Uh huh.
athlete, and he was exceptionally good at
Uh
running.
huh.
He had broken world records before, and he was going to go to this Olympics.
Hmm.
At the start, there was a lot of tension in America. This Jesse Owens is from America. There was a lot of tensions between the black community about Jesse Owens going to the Olympics because uh, some of the leaders of the black community thought it wouldn't be a good message if Jesse Owens went to the Olympics. They thought if Jesse Owens boycotted the Olympics and did not go to the Olympics, that would show a sign to Nazi Germany that the black community of America does not accept what Germany is doing to black people in their country. Because Nazi Germany wasn't only mistreating Jewish people, they were also mistreating other races such as black
Yeah,
people.
we're mistreating a lot of people they thought they were too old. People that
Yes,
the gay people, for example. Obviously, the Jews go without saying.
disabled
Just literally
people.
anybody who wasn't pure, I believe, was like the directive. If they're not
Yes,
this, they're not good. Or if they're not this, like
yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
checklist. So Aryan, race, ha ha ha. You
White,
know
blue eyes, or blonde hair. That was like the most stereotypical
exactly.
type. Yeah, it was a terrible
Yeah.
time. But Jesse Owens decided to go.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, Jesse Owens decided to go, and that is where he did a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Olympics, and in the Olympics, he won 4 gold medals.
Mm-hmm.
4 gold medals in different types of racing exercises. He won 4 different medals. And when he won that, usually it is tradition that the leader of the country that is hosting the Olympics would usually take a picture with the winners of the
Right.
Olympics. And Jesse Owens had just won 4 gold medals.
Right.
The thing is, this is the story. As Jesse is continuously winning these gold medals, the Nazi regime is getting worried because it is showing to the world that, yes, a black person is equal to a white person, and sometimes a black person can achieve whatever any other human can do
Uh huh.
and even succeed
Mm-hmm.
higher. So Jesse Owens was 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 showing the strength of the black community, and Hitler left before Jesse Owens was taken to take a picture with Hitler. And I believe, quote, Hitler said, "I would never allow myself." He chuckled. He was asked, "Why didn't you take a picture with Jesse Owens?" He chuckled and said, uh, "I would never allow myself to be taken a picture with 3."
Alrighty.
All right. Sorry about that. There was some technical difficulties
Mm-hmm.
that happened, but let's get back to the story. Um, so, like I was talking about, Hitler uh, did not want his picture taken with a black man. So when he was going to his car and leaving the Olympics after the Olympics was over, and Jesse Owens was being taken to take a picture with
Mm-hmm.
Hitler, Hitler said and chuckled, "I will not let my picture be taken with a black man."
Well, he used a different word, but
Uh, yeah, he used a different word. Um, but that is a good story, and there's a movie about this great
is
story.
it?
It's called The
Hmm.
Race, and it's just called Race, and it's about Jesse Owens and how he embarrassed the Nazi regime and their
Mm-hmm.
uh, bad ideals. So that's one great story that comes from the Olympics. This Olympics had major historic uh, symbols. Another story that I might say is the legend himself, Muhammad
Mm-hmm.
Ali. He won a gold medal for
Uh huh.
boxing in the Olympics. In the Olympics of his time, I don't know the exact date, but I know this story. Uh, this story is not true, but it's the story he told the people to symbolize what was
Mm-hmm.
going on. So he was the champion of the United States. He was the hero of the United
Mm-hmm.
States, and when he came back home, he was treated no different. Uh, for some context, during this time there was segregation happening.
Mm-hmm.
So black people and white people, there was racism, and they were
Mm-hmm.
divided. So Muhammad Ali won that gold medal and came home with the high hopes, with the massive hopes
Hmm.
that he would be finally treated the same as every other person since he is now the champion. He's now the champion of this country. When he came back, he was treated the exact same. He was mistreated. Uh, he did not get
He
any
didn't get what he was hoping for,
respect.
obviously. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
Yes, he didn't get what he was hoping for. He thought maybe him winning the Olympics would change uh, the racist minds of some people, but no, it didn't. And he got so mad, he got so angry that he was walking around the Ohio River and he grabbed his gold medal and looked at it, and with frustration, he realized that this gold medal had no value. It had no value. All his efforts, all that he put in to win that gold medal, had no value for the country he won
Hmm.
it for. So then he threw the gold medal into the Ohio River to be lost forever. Now that story is what he told the people, but then it turns out it's not true. It was just a way to symbolize it, and it's a great story, and it's a great way to symbolize it. The gold medal was just simply lost. No one knows how it was lost, but it was lost, and that story is another very quite sad but hopeful story um, that came out of the Olympics, and that is the point of view for the Olympics today. Now,
Uh,
these stories are great, and we're past those terrible
yeah.
times. We don't know much more about Olympics, but you know what we do know about?
What do we know about?
I was hoping you would just say it. That would have been
Oh
cool.
yeah,
Like, you know,
I
we
thought
finish each
I
other's
thought you had some sort of
sentences.
transit. Yes, we know about
Yeah.
football more, and again I'll say it: football.
Football! Or
FOOTBALL.
you goddamn Americans,
There
soccer.
is no excuse to be calling American football or American egg hand, whatever I think it's called. Football. You
You
use your
go,
you don't yeah you
again.
use your hand and a non-ball shaped thing most of the game. So I do not
Egghead.
understand how it's
Goddamn.
called football. Whatever it is. Point is, there are three major tournaments more or less in international football, being the Euros, the Copa America, and the World Cup. There's the Asian Cup, for example, as well. But I mean, it's a little bit more secondary compared to. And there's also club football, which is a whole different thing. But basically the three big ones are the Copa America, the World Cup, and the Euros. Both the Copa America and the Euros did happen this year. The World Cup coming shortly next summer. Currently not this summer, summer of 20. Actually, no, same summer. It's winter, I believe, because it's in Qatar, which it probably shouldn't be, but that's a whole different topic. Anyway, so the Copa America and the Euros just passed, and in there, there's a good bit of action. Lionel Messi, probably the yeah, I mean Lionel Messi
Yes.
finally winning his first trophy with Argentina, surprisingly.
That was epic.
That was in his senior. I think he won in the U23s, but that doesn't really count. Um, how many Copa Americas is that for him? I mean, it's a bunch. So now you can say, maybe.
Well, I think it's his
Well, yeah,
first one.
yeah. As far as winning, yeah, but how many has he played?
Oh, yeah, he's played a lot.
Yeah. So,
He has played a lot. This was his year for them.
well, yeah, he
For
played
him.
a lot.
For him.
He actually was quite bad in the final. I'm actually, I'm not right now, but I watched the final when it happened. I mean, it was. He was not very well. He
I
was not
mean,
playing
the
very well at
final
all.
was one
It was
zero,
1-0
and
Di
and
Maria
he gave the
scoring a great
assist.
goal. It wasn't his assist or anything. No, it
Oh, it
was
wasn't. Oh, all
Rodrigo De
right.
Paul from pretty much inside his own half. No pressure on him whatsoever. Sends a brilliant through ball. Di Maria, great touch. Chips it over Ederson, and 1-0 the whole game. In Argentina, the main point, I mean, Messi had a few chances to get a second or third goal, and he was just horrible. He was really, really bad in the final, but
Yeah, yeah. As you can see, people who are listening to this, Arian is very, very enthusiastic about
hmm
football. So you'll hear some complications. All right, some complex soccer words. I said soccer. I'm
hmm
sorry. Football, football. I'm becoming American. No, no. All right.
well,
Yeah. What was quite symbolic here was Messi versus Neymar, which was quite funny because they're longtime friends from being on the same team in
Well,
Barcelona, right?
Neymar is no longer in Barcelona. I think he's been at PSG for about 4 years now, 3 years now. But yeah, they are friends. Obviously, Neymar outperformed him on the night. Definitely, he was much better for Brazil than
Okay.
Messi was. Like I said, Messi really was surprisingly bad this game. But the main um, focus was how good Argentina were at defending. There was some standouts on the night. Actually, there were some
Yes.
brilliant
Nobody.
defenders.
Nobody.
Montiel had blood on his socks for about like the whole game. The guy was
Wow.
putting his body on line, blood, sweat, and tears. He was brilliant. Um, Christian Romero also a brilliant Argentine center half. Otamendi, I think he got subbed off, but he put in a great shift as well. Um, a little bit of a tangent here, but I do support a different club, Tottenham Hotspur, and it looks like we might be getting Christian Romero, as reports are suggesting currently, which would be great. The guy's a brilliant defender. He had a brilliant final. I don't think he was actually involved too much outside the final, but he was immense in the final. I think he made an incredible block as Vinicius Jr. on the edge of the box went to get a shot, but he just slid in and blocked it, which was great. On to the Euros, though, because honestly, Copa America, the build-up wasn't quite as intense as the Euros was. I mean, the build-up was great because I think there was a bunch of penalty shootouts, for
Yeah.
example. Colombia against Argentina did go to penalties. And the funny thing about that was Colombia advanced the previous game also thanks to penalties. So that was two penalty shootouts in a row for Colombia. And Yerry Mina, a Colombian center back for Colombia, started dancing after he scored his penalty, which is disrespectful, obviously. And against Argentina,
But funny. It's
he
still
missed his
funny.
penalty, and Messi started screaming, "Dance now! Dance now!" which was quite funny. But
Oh man,
so
that
looks
is
like
hilarious.
Messi's got a little bit of a bite in him, so that's interesting. But in the Euros, there was a lot more drama, honestly. From
Yeah,
yeah,
the Euros was way
it
more
was
appreciated
very, very
than
intense. There
the
was a
Copa
lot of
America.
underdogs, a lot of surprise games. The group stages, not. I mean, the group stages were great. For example, in the group of death, where there was Germany, Portugal, and France, and even Hungary, who almost made it out. They were pretty much down and out, but no, at the final day, they almost did make it out. Unfortunately, I think
Yeah,
Germany got them
and
the last little bit, which was heartbreaking. But
yeah,
they really impressed.
uh, uh, this Euros, if you know anything about it, you know it was very tragic for
Yes, I watched
England.
the final. And I like I said, I support Tottenham, which is an English
Very.
club, and I was rooting for England for the tournament. And I was watching the final, and I'm gonna get to the final a little bit, but I want to go through a rebuild. So the group stages was more or less, traditional, nothing crazy. Turkey were kind of seen as like kind of favorites to go with Italy, but they were just horrible, and Wales ended up going instead. But other than that, nothing really happened. Um, but what really was interesting was the knockouts. A few teams that are worth mentioning are Switzerland, who put in a brilliant shift, losing to penalties against Spain, I believe, with some horrible penalties. Actually, I think it was very.
And
Well, yeah,
France.
against France they were brilliant. That was a ridiculous game. 3-1 down, two goals in the 80th minutes. Uh, or two goals past the 80th
I
minute.
mean, wasn't France the team which won the World
France was the
Cup
team that won the
just
World
two
Cup,
years
and they
before?
were the finalists of the Euro last year, losing to Portugal.
Yeah.
Um,
So this was very
well,
tragic for
yeah,
them.
I mean, I think they just got cocky because after Pogba scored the third goal, which is a brilliant goal from outside the box, curled it right into the top corner, they kind of just sat back as if they already won the game, and I guess Switzerland showed why you can't be that naive. And I mean, they put a brilliant display,
Yeah.
won on penalties after Kylian Mbappe steps up and loses and misses. Oh no, I think Jan Sommer saved it, and then the very next game, I think it was 0-0. Switzerland, Spain, and went to penalties, and Switzerland were taking some horrible penalties. So very undeserved win if they had gone through. Jan Sommer, the goalkeeper for
Hmm.
Switzerland, was brilliant though. I believe he saved two penalties and still was not able to help his side get that win. I think they only scored one penalty out of like the four that they were able to shoot, which is tragic. Another side to shout out, Denmark. Brilliant performance from there. Christian Eriksen,
Oh yes.
a former Spurs player, current Inter Milan player, having cardiac arrest. A horrible tragedy against
Oh
I
wow.
forgot who it was against actually, which is quite embarrassing right now. But it's not really important who it's against. Is that it was just scary, man. The fact that it
You
was
know,
against
I
Finland.
was actually
It was against Finland, I believe.
yeah, you know, I was actually rooting for Denmark from the
I
very
mean,
start, and you know
why?
why? Because when the Euros
Hmm.
started, I was told this story how Denmark won one of the Euros without even qualifying. Do you
Yes,
know
I
that
do.
story?
So what happened is, I believe one of the teams couldn't participate. I don't remember if it was a disqualification or something. Was it Denmark? I don't remember if it was Denmark.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Turkey who qualified to go to the next level of the Euros. I don't know which year it was, but it was in the 19
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
Turkey was disqualified because of political communist dictator regime
Uh huh.
stuff. They were disqualified, and Denmark came up, but Denmark was disqualified
I'm not
when
100%
they
sure if it was
played
Denmark,
against Turkey.
but I do know that
No,
story you're talking
yeah, I
about.
think it was Denmark.
And yeah, it is kind of a wondrous
Yeah, it was
story. It was either
Denmark,
Denmark or Finland. I'm not
and
sure. Um,
no, I'm pretty sure it
Whatever it
was
was, it was.
Denmark.
I have
So
heard that story
so
before.
yeah, Denmark got lucky, and they continued playing, and they won. They won the Euros that year, and they didn't even qualify for it, which was funny, and that's why I rooted for
Yeah,
Denmark.
Denmark.
But how was their
Um,
performance this
their performances was
year?
incredible, especially considering the fact that they lost one of their best, or maybe even their best player, Christian Eriksen. Brilliant playmaker for them. As a Spurs fan, I've seen a lot of him. He unfortunately doesn't play with us anymore, but when he did in his prime, especially, he is incredible. An absolute gem of a player. His creativity is incredible. He's two-footed actually as well. His passing is unmatched. He can place a brilliant pass. Incredible for Denmark to even get to the semis without him. So who knows what they could have done with him and what they could do the next tournament, in the World Cup, even if they can get past, if they get into
Yes.
the quarterfinals for a nation like Denmark, that's incredible. Now that's a whole different story though. Stand-up performers. I think that the fact that Eriksson, what happened to him, it really drove the team because you have players that kind of really broke through. You had Mikael Damsgaard, for example, who was incredible for Denmark. Scored, I believe, the goal to put them in the lead against England in the game that they unfortunately ended up losing. Um, they had also, I don't remember the run that they had. I think they first beat Wales 4-0. Then they had gone on to beat the Czech Republic after the Czech Republic took down Netherlands, which is also an incredible game. I mean, the
Yeah.
Netherlands were horrible that game, so it's not like the Czech Republic outplayed this incredible team, but still, I mean, Czech Republic versus Netherlands, you're expecting the Netherlands to win. It's this whole thing. Um, and yeah, Denmark were just incredible. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, a current Tottenham player, he was probably their player of the tournament. Even though I'm going to sound biased, I'm not. He was incredible. I think he was top of the assist charts for the majority of the tournament. He might even finish there. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Incredible. He was a midfield general, the defensive midfielder. He was insane for them. He was absolutely untouchable. He was one of the
Yeah.
players of the tournament, in my opinion. Um, just incredible. What an
Arian.
absolute machine of a player he was, and he is honestly for Tottenham. He does not. He plays pretty much every minute. He didn't get injured even once, I believe, even though there was some very, very nasty challenges performed on him throughout the season. Some that probably looked like leg
Yeah.
breakers, but now he just shakes them off and walks on. There was like some moments, for example, for Tottenham, where he had his side of his eye bleeding. He had like something that looked like could have been a concussion. It wasn't, but it looked like it could have been. He wanted to play on. He had his shin bleeding, and he wanted to play on. The guy's an absolute
Wow.
warrior. So yeah,
Absolute
does
absolute
not surprise
legend.
me that it was so good for them.
But go towards the final because whoo, that one was a
Yeah,
tornado
so
of
in the beginning of the
emotions.
final, England set up a quick counterattack. The thing is, they actually started very nervy. So I believe Harry Maguire made a horrible pass in about
Yeah.
30 seconds of the game starting, leading to an Italian corner. And they used that corner, the English, they cleared it away, and a counterattack sparks. And off of nowhere, Luke Shaw scores this
Their
incredible
first goal.
goal. Trippier crosses it in. Shaw bangs it right near post. On the volley, incredible stuff, and pretty much an entire nation is roaring with happiness. And from there it was kind of
Yeah.
slow. The first half was still dominated by England mostly, so Italy looked kind of poor. And in the second half, they came out kind of bursting through the door. And in the 80th minute, I believe, off a corner, this time again for Italy's favor, Bonucci is able to tap it in at the near post, and it goes all the way to penalties. The heart rates are racing, where
Oh, yes, the
um,
penalties
yeah,
was
it
a
was
mess.
Captain Harry Kane puts it, slots it, incredible penalty, and I believe the first Italian penalty taker, I forgot his name. I think it might have been Immobile. Not sure. No, I don't think it was Immobile. I forgot who it was, but I know they slotted it. And then Harry Maguire comes in and he bangs it top right. Probably the best penalty of the tournament. No one's saving that in a million years. Incredible stuff. And Belotti misses his penalty, but this is where it goes downhill for England. Uh, Marcus
Yeah,
Rashford
England
steps
3 in a
up. Yeah,
row.
Marcus Rashford steps up and he does a big run up and he hits the post. It's not a horrible penalty. Keeper goes the wrong way. It's unlucky. Happens. Not a huge deal.
Yes.
Um, and now it's tied up and Italy go and score the third penalty. And comes steps Jadon Sancho, who I play football myself. And I'm not a professional. I do not claim to be. And I understand the pressure that is in this situation. But I do not get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, and when you're paid that kind of money, you're expected to be able to give some sort of decent performance. Now, I don't care. There are people who are hailing these people as heroes for even having the courage to step up. I don't care how young you are. I don't care what you're doing. Having the courage to step up is not something you should commend a professional footballer for when they miss. Okay, because they're getting more praise than Harry Kane and Harry Maguire, who scored the penalties. Funny enough, because they missed, which whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
point is, now he steps up, and it's frankly a horrible penalty. He opens his body up so much, I could guess where he's going with my eyes closed. It's unreal, like how horrible a penalty it was. Donnarumma makes an easy save, one of the best keepers in the world too, mind you. So, not doing your homework against Donnarumma is a bit of a mistake. Um, and up steps Jorginho, who, if he scores, wins the game for Italy. Now, Jorginho is probably one of the best penalty takers in the world. Pickford, the English goalkeeper, is on incredible form, however, and he manages to save Jorginho's penalty, which is incredible. Jorginho is
Yes.
100% one of the best penalty takers on this planet. He's so
So now
cold.
it comes.
And against Spain, actually, his penalty was ice cold. Sent the keeper the wrong way, and it just taps it in. Incredible. And then up steps Bukayo Saka, who somehow manages
The final hit.
to miss a third time for England in a row. An
Wow.
insane. I don't even know how you managed to hit a penalty worse than Sancho. Now, look, I can sit on here on my high horse and say I'd go up there and hit a better penalty, and I probably wouldn't. What I could say, though, is as a professional footballer, I know you should be doing better. I don't care if he's 19, I don't care if he's 15, I don't care if he's 95. You don't hit a penalty like that in a final if you're
Yeah.
good enough to be on a team like that. You don't do that. It's he opens his body up an insane amount. There's only one direction that penalty could be going, and it's against a world class keeper like Gianluigi Donnarumma, who is about 6'4". The guy's a giant. You cannot open your body up that much, and it's an easy save for him, even from the penalty spots. If you're gonna open your body that much, power it. Make sure the keeper can get to it in time. It's a soft strike. It's a very easy to predict strike, and Donnarumma saves it. And now he's the hero for Italy. Italy go on to win the tournament, and I mean, you can go here and say they had the
Yes.
courage to step up this whole time, but the fact of the matter is they completely choked it. There was two horrible penalties at the
Yeah.
end there. I can forgive Rashford for his penalty because he sent the keeper the wrong way and he missed the target. That happens. I understand missing the target. What I don't understand is taking a penalty like a 10th grader. Like, that's genuinely how I'd probably take a penalty. Maybe. I think my penalty's actually quite decent. So I'd honestly say I'd back myself more. And I can sit on here and, I can sound naive, but I honestly think that I would hit a better penalty than that. I would send at least, I think I'd send Donnarumma the wrong way. Even if I managed to miss the target, I think I'd be more of a Rashford penalty taker than I would a Saka, where I open my body up so much where the penalty can only go on the right side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think England was the favorite since they've never actually won a Euro, correct?
They have not. They've only won a World Cup.
Yeah, they haven't won the Euros, and this was their first time in the final, and tragically, they didn't get the
Mm-hmm.
win. And now the World Cup. I want to say something about the World Cup before you go into the
Mm-hmm.
details. I love the
Oh
World
yeah.
Cup. The World Cup has this massive feeling of unity and humanity that comes with it,
Mm-hmm.
which is so perfect, especially in today's world where there's so much tensions between countries and countries not liking each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The World Cup is every time. Uh, as a kid, I used to watch the World Cup. I wouldn't like the soccer because that would be boring to me as a kid.
Right.
But the names of the countries being thrown out, and there would be no
Right.
hate towards the country because of the people. Just they were just compared based on a sport.
Mm-hmm.
It was as a kid, I just used to love it because the environment it created was so
Mm-hmm.
unique. Like it's so rare to have that kind of international unity, and that's why I think the World Cup really deserves what it
Mm-hmm.
deserves. The World Cup's happening this year, right?
Correct.
In
It's
Tokyo.
2022.
Wait, no, that's the Olympics.
2022 in
Uh,
Qatar.
22 in
Mm-hmm.
Qatar. Right. Okay. Yeah. And in 2026, it's gonna happen in North
Yeah,
America,
lots of drama in the
where I assume
2022
most.
and being Qatar. Now, I don't want to go into that. I feel like that if we're ever going to talk about that, it kind of deserves its own little special episode if the World Cup ever
Yeah.
happens. Or there. But
Yeah, we'll talk about the
yeah, and I
World
think
Cup
we're
more
also
when
yeah,
the
and I
World
think it's
Cup
about the
comes.
37th minute that we're in right now. So I think we're gonna have to start calling it wraps here. Um,
Yes.
if now we're talking about
Uh.
sports here, where if
Yeah.
sports not quite your thing and you like kind of staying at home, playing a little bit with your hands, with your brain a little bit, keep it sharp. We do have normally a link. I know by YouTube, it's going to be a link in the description. We can go to speedcubeshop.com. It's a Rubik's cube. I think we all know about the household toy Rubik's cubes. They're kind of for your brain.
Yes.
Keep it sharp. You can also learn how to solve it if you go ahead and buy from there. They're much cheaper than if you go from Target. They're much higher quality. It's honestly just a smart buy. You can always mess with it. It's a little toy. You can have some fun with it. Show off to your friends if you learn how to solve it. That's what I do. I have a collection of them. I'm a bit of a nerd myself. I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, if sports not your thing, go ahead and
Hmm.
check it out. Speedcubeshop.com. Use the code in the description to support this podcast specifically. But that should be it. I'm Arian with Bruce on the
Yes.
podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good luck sporting.